Yeah, so this is what was planned for today. I hope you can hear me, Gabriel.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so this is what was planned for today. Yeah, so first thing first, have you already checked your checkers? Are all the files correct? Are all the checks passing?
Yes, it's I've checked it, but one is not okay yet.
Oh, okay. We look into the task also. Let us just do a small introduction, and then we'll also look into the tasks and see how that they are supposed to be done. Yeah. So last week during the last presentation on Friday, there was a session that we held, and that session, the person who was it was a technical mentor. He said that this DevOps project is going to be really important. So that's why I thought it was a good idea for us to hold this session. Yeah, because with this develop project here, without grabbing all the concepts here, you won't be able to work with servers. Yeah, so if you come to your profile here, not here, yeah, this project here, for you to be able to interact with this server of yours here, you must be able to, you must know how to interact with servers. And in our case here, ALX specifically want us to be using SSH. Yeah, so to be able to use SSH, you must be able to know what is SSH, and to be able to also interact with the server, you must know what is a server. You must know how to connect to a remote server, or maybe even to connect with the same server. That's what I was trying to do here. I downloaded a new Ubuntu terminal here. I wanted us to connect with this one here, work with it so that everybody can see that a server is just basically a computer. You can have it. You can also host your websites in your own computer. But that's not a good idea. We're going to see why it's not a good idea. Yeah, but then this config file here is not working. I've tried restarting it. I've also even tried to change the file. I've tried editing the nano config file, but then the SSH config file, but still it's not working. I don't know why. I guess maybe it's corrupt in a way, so I'll look into that later on. For this, we'll just work with this. Yeah, so let me just move out of this. Sorry. Yeah, ls. Yeah, let us just go to our home directory. ls. Yeah, I think that's it. So I wanted us to do that, but then I think I'll look for another terminal the next station, and then we'll do that. So first thing first, we must know what is a server. So we're starting with number one. So the first one is, what is a server? So Gabriel, can you help me here? So what do you think, in your own definition, from how you understood the tasks, let me say that, or maybe the resources, what do you think a server is? From your own definition, as simple as ever, for to when maybe you want to explain to a beginner or to someone who is not into tech, what can you say a server is?
Basically, I was not able to go deep into the resources because I was working through the JavaScript resources. I need to get my hands dirty on it. But then a server, like a layman language of beginner,
Yes.
a server is just like a kind of platform that helps to connect to the browser for a kind of connectivity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in simple terms, I can also say, just in simple terms, from what I got from all the many resources here, or maybe from in the internet, YouTube, technical mentors. In simple terms, a server is just a computer. So a server is just a computer. A server is a
Okay.
computer. Yeah. So what a server is just a computer. So you can host your, it can be your own computer or another computer somewhere else. Either way, a server is just a computer. Yeah.
Okay, let's record this session.
Yeah. The session is being recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So basically, you could just say a server is a computer, whether it's your own
Okay.
computer or maybe your friend's computer. Either way, both of them are just servers. But then, when now we want to host a website or maybe an app or things like that, we basically don't go with hosting them in our own computer because of certain things. So because for somebody maybe say who is in America, maybe let's say in Nigeria, or maybe say in Kenya. So for example, let me use Gabriel. So for example, Gabriel, you have your own, let's say, website. So your portfolio. So maybe you decided to call it www.gabriel. This is just an example. So gabriel.com. So now,
Okay.
if you host this server in your own computer, and then maybe once in a while you are maybe not at home, your computer is offline, you have no internet connection, people will not be able to access this website of yours. So that is going to be a disadvantage. So because of that, we normally decide to go for another type of to host our websites using servers that we know they are always going to be available. Yeah. So
Yes.
so one disadvantage of hosting a website in your own computer, you can say internet problems. Maybe you can say also RAM problems. You can also say things like maybe you can also say what else? You can say also availability, because you can say also availability because sometimes when you switch on your computer, you want to play a game or maybe watch a movie, things like that, and during things like that, a lot of resources go into that thing you want. So maybe now you have already hosted your website, when a user wants to now call the website, it's going to load slower compared to when we have hosted it in another place. So that's why we normally choose to host our websites using different servers somewhere else, like the one that ALX gave us here. Like this server here, one advantage of this server is you can log in with this server from anywhere because it's ever online. The internet speed of where it was hosted, from what I read, is that it's very fast. Yeah, because most of the servers are normally located in data centers, and if you search on YouTube about data centers, you'll see that data centers also have power backups. You'll never find a scenario in a data center that it doesn't have power, or maybe the internet connection is slow. They normally check on those things. So those are some of the advantages of that, of hosting your website in another server somewhere else. Yeah, so okay, that's the spelling. I think that's that. So I've already said what is a server. Yeah. So now, how to connect to a remote server? Yeah. So now, if you want to talk to, in order to connect to a remote server, so that you can be able to, now these two are more like link, these two here, because in order for you to connect to a remote server, you must know how. You must check on a method on how to connect to the remote server. That's where now SSH comes in. So SSH is the method used to connect to a remote server. For example, now like in this server here. So in order for you to connect to this server here, you'll use SSH. Yeah. So now I think now you get the point. So you can't connect without having something to connect to. So that's it. So now we'll see. Now let's go. So before saying we talk about how to interact with how to connect to a server, we'll first go with what is SSH, because the SSH is the protocol used to connect to the remote server. So now let's go to number 2. We'll come back to the second one, how to connect to a remote server. But for the meantime, let us see what is SSH. So now number 2 will say what is SSH. Yeah. So in simple terms, let me see who has joined, who's going to help us with that. So okay, welcome to Chuku. I hope I pronounced your name well. Yeah, so okay, I don't think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so welcome. So
Okay.
I'm sorry about the disruption. It's
Okay.
raining really hard from in Kenya right now. So in case you find that I'm shouting, that's the reason. So welcome. So we are just started right now. So
Yeah,
we are
thank you.
how to connect
Thank
to a
you.
remote server. So you can't connect to a remote server without using something to connect to it. So in order to connect to a remote server, you know, in this case you want to be using SSH. There are different ways to connect to a remote server, but then SSH is the most secure one. Yeah, so in case maybe we decide that we'll go through the project of attack the best defense, I'll show you why SSH is the best method to use while connecting to a remote server, because hackers are usually very, very active. They try different methods to brute force to enter into places they are not supposed to enter. So that's why SSH is more secure, because the data packets you send using SSH are normally encrypted. You can say a hacker can't easily know the contents. Yeah. So Tochuku, yeah, I was with you. So I wanted you to help us with what is a server. Not what is a server. Sorry about that. What is SSH in simple terms? From what you got from the resources, or while you are going through the project itself. So what is SSH in simple terms? Just
Sorry, you say,
yeah.
you say what is what?
SSH. What is SSH?
Okay, okay. SSH is
Yeah.
stand for secure shell.
So secure shell.
Secure, yes, and it is a kind of a protocol
Yes.
in which is a protocol in which two hosts or let's say two computers in a network is a means of communication between two computers in a network,
So in
and
simple terms,
is a kind of a secure it's kind of a secure medium in which two hosts in a network can communicate.
oh, okay, can communicate.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me go down a little bit. Yeah. Let me take this down here. Yeah. So SSH in simple terms, say it's a protocol in which two computers can communicate in a network. Yeah. So
Yes, exactly.
in a network. Yeah. So okay. Thank you for that. Let me move this one here. Okay. So in simple terms, I think this is the best definition you can give for SSH so that everybody can understand what SSH is. So SSH is just a protocol. A protocol, you can say, is just a method. Yeah, it's a method where two computers can communicate in a network. So you can also say the computer here. We have already said what is a server. So we have said a server is a computer. So in the best way you can say this, also you can also say secure cell protocol. So it's a protocol in which two servers can communicate in a network. So in a case you hear that somewhere else, it's still the same definition, because a server is a computer. So a computer is still a server. Yeah. So that's it. I won't. Maybe in case somebody maybe has a better definition for it, or maybe something easier that you read and wanted to share on what is SSH in simple terms. Yeah, so
Sorry.
yeah, thank you, Tochuku, for that. Yeah, because of time, we'll just keep going. Yeah, so now in order to connect to a remote server, so first we have already said what is a server. So now, well, point number 2 here, to how to connect to a remote server, we have to know, we have to be able to connect to a remote server, you must have something so that you can connect to the remote server. So in this case here, we are saying we'll be using SSH to connect to a remote server, because it's more secure and hackers can't brute force it, yeah, or maybe can't get access to it easily, because it's encrypted. And even if they try man in the middle attack, they still can't be able to get the contents, because they are normally encrypted. yeah, so we've said in case we decide that for those who are doing attack is the best defense, that the optional project, we'll schedule a session on this and we'll talk about how hackers do these things. Yeah, so now we are how to generate an SSH peer, because in order to connect to a remote server you must generate the SSH pair and then paste the pair, the public pair on the remote server you want to be connecting, and then leave the public one, the private one in your own computer, so that every time you want to connect there you don't have to authenticate using a password. So in this case here, now we are now in point number 2. We are still following this roadmap here. So how to connect to a remote server, because you can't connect to a remote server without having this protocol, without generating a key, and then without knowing which is the private and which is the public key, because I notice most people usually don't know the difference between which is the private and which is the public. So now how to generate an SSH key pair. Okay, sorry.
I see exactly. You've been having confusion about the private and public key.
Yeah, so that's why I decided to create this small roadmap that we'll use, so that we can reach to the final destination. So after finally we going through all these 3, because I think these are the most important things here. In case maybe after we are done with this somebody will have a question, you can just ask. We'll go through the tasks from task 0, I think, but then they're not hard, they're really simple. So we'll just go do this quickly and then we'll be done. But then I'm sure after we are done with this, everybody will be able to do all these tasks easily, because they were really simple. They don't take a lot of time. So let's just continue. We'll come back there. So now, how to generate an SSH key pair. So now we are here. We are still here. So how to generate an SSH key pair. Because the SSH key pair is the one that will be used. So now let me change the color a little bit. Yeah. So now how to generate an SSH key pair. So let me see who's going to help us with that. Hey Endurance, welcome Endurance. Hello. Hello Endurance.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah,
Sorry.
good evening. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great.
Okay, now so welcome. So can you help us with how to generate an SSH key pair? What's the command that you normally use to generate it?
Oh, the command SSH
dash
keygen.
Okay. Yeah. Before you go, so
okay.
In a scenario now, I want to maybe to generate extra bits. What's the command that I'm going to use? Okay, I know this one is correct. This is correct.
Okay.
But then now maybe let's say for example now I want to generate, let me see, maybe let's say 1496 bits of the key that will come. So which in this command, what am I supposed to add here so that I'll make this possible?
Okay, there is I don't know if it is called flag. There is a -b flag that you can associate with the command.
So so I'm supposed to add a B and then now add the number of bits.
Yes, the number of bits.
Yeah. So does anyone who thinks this one is not correct before we move on, or maybe who has a sorry about that.
Sorry.
Anyone who thinks maybe this one is wrong, or maybe who has a better way of saying this one?
No, I just want to ask a question.
Okay, sure, feel free.
Gabriel, the way to generate the SSH key pair, I think it's correct. But then what I'm just trying to ask now, is there any way you can do the practical terms on the terminal?
Pardon?
Once you actually, how can we actually practicalize this on the terminal on Ubuntu?
Okay. How to do this on Ubuntu?
Yes.
Okay, let us do that. Let me just use this other
practical.
Let us just do this quickly, because Gabriel knows I'm just using this terminal here, but then during the practical session we'll be using this one because it's corrupt. I don't know if I used the wrong command to install it, but then okay. So now to generate an SSH key, then you just do SSH keygen, just like that. Oh sorry, keygen, it's keygen, just like that, and then it will generate the public and private SSH key pair. So you will be, the first prompt you'll be told enter the file in which you want to save your key. So by default it's normally saved in the home directory and then in the file called .ssh, and then the name is this one here. So the name is ID RSA. That's the name that's normally given. Personally,
I'm always getting confused here.
yeah,
So
yeah.
which file are we going to pick? Which file exactly are we going to put here?
The file we are going
That's
to
where the confusion is coming. Yes.
the file we are going to put here.
Where to save it.
Yeah, okay. It depends. For example, let's say automatically the SSH key is normally saved in this folder here, in this folder called .ssh. But then now when you want to,
Where can we find this folder now? Where can we get
we'll
it?
come there. We'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your first thing first. Up to here, we are all okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So because of that, I'm going to cancel this command because I didn't want us to do this right now. We'll come back here. So I'll just do that. I'll control C so that to opt out of here. We are going to come to where all these files saved. After going through the basics, the introduction, and then we'll do this practical a bit and then now start the file. So let's just finish this quickly. So I think that's that. So when you want to generate the bits, for example, like in task number, I think it was task number 3. Okay, like in task number 1 here, they were saying you should generate 4096 bits. So like in that case here, you are supposed to add this flag B so that can be able, or maybe to make that possible. So that's that. Let me see what else. So now we have already said what is a server. So in order to connect to a remote server, we have gone to SSH, and then we have generated the SSH key pair. So now, so that you can connect to the remote server, now we're back here again. We are still all this second command here is usually how to connect to a remote server, usually very important. Once you get this, then you get all other things here, because to be able to connect to the remote server, you must know SSH. We already know about SSH. You must generate a key pair. We know how to generate the key pair, and then now you must know which one is the public and which one is the private. So now we are good there because to connect to
exactly.
Pardon? Are you talking, Gabriel?
Yes, I said you need to know the difference between private and public.
Yeah, exactly. So now you must know the difference between the private and public key, because the public is the one that will be pasted to the remote server so that you'll be able to connect to it without a password. So now we are here in the finally, let me change the color here. So the difference between the remote, the public, comma private key. Yeah, so the difference now, let me just put them color yellow. Hope everybody will see that. So now we are here. So by default, when you when you generate the key, the keygen, by default, the keygen. Yeah. So by default, when you generate the keygen, it's usually stored in the home directory, depending on. Sorry about that. So it's usually stored in the home directory, because all of us, I'm sure now, we're familiar with Ubuntu, and I'm sure most of us are using Ubuntu here. So I won't talk about the option for Windows, but then for Windows, okay. Sorry, if somebody has a question. Okay, sure. Tochuku, sure. Feel free.
Please, there's something that is kind of confusing me
Okay,
about this. When you generate this
the key.
a key,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is it going to save inside the Ubuntu? This Ubuntu terminal. I think it's kind of a server,
Yeah.
because everything we saved in that thing is not in our system.
No, 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 no,
Understand?
no, 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 no. Okay,
Uh-huh.
when you
So
generate,
I'm saying that this key, is it going to be inside our system or inside that Ubuntu server?
okay, okay, now I get your point. Sorry about that. Let me just drink water. Just a minute.
As Ramadan period, drink water.
Okay, okay. So, sorry about that. So now, okay, I've had you, Tochuku. So I was getting into that, but then okay, let me just talk about it here. So now, after using this command SSH keygen, two keys will come. So the first key will have a .pub extension, and the other one won't have an extension. The other one won't have an extension. So the first one, which has an extension, is the one we normally call it the public key. The one that will have a .pub extension is the one which is the public key. The one which won't have an extension, this one is the private key. Yeah, and then they are normally stored in a folder, in a directory called SSH directory. Yeah, so the directory, if you try running ls after if you try running, so let me just do this. Yeah, so if maybe after running the command SSH keygen, and then you maybe try listing all the commands available, all files available, you won't see this SSH folder directory. Yeah, let me just call it directory, but then it's a folder in Windows, it's a folder in Linux. I'm sure everybody knows about that. So if you try running ls, you will see this directory, because it's normally hidden. The dots is the one that makes it to be hidden. It's called .ssh. So the dot is the one that makes it to be hidden. And yeah, Tochuku, the file is usually stored in your own computer, in your own server, in the Ubuntu server where you have created it. So that's that. We are going to see that in a minute. Let's just finish this quickly. I hope up to here, first of all, everybody is okay. In case you have a question up to here, just feel free to ask before we finish up on this. Yeah, so I think, okay, there's somebody who normally can. I almost forgot about that. So Jason, okay, Jason, okay, Jason, are we okay up to here? Jason usually can't speak because his mic is usually damaged, so that's why. Okay, sure. So now we have already talked about how to generate the key, and then we have already now we know which one is the private and which is the public. So now finally we are back to here. So now we can be able to connect to the remote server. So let me just do that. So to be able now, let me see, now to be able to connect to the remote server here. So now we are finally here. We are finally now in this how to connect. We have gone with the server. We have already talked about this, the second one. The first one now we are finishing up. So now how to connect to our remote server. So first thing first, you must know. So okay, let me just write it here. So how to connect to a remote server. Yeah, so let me just give it a blue color, and let me just give it red so that everybody can see. So how to connect to a remote server. So first thing first, to be able to connect to a remote server, you must have two things. The first thing you're supposed to have here you're supposed to have you're supposed to have the IP address of the server in which you want to connect. Like in our case, we want to connect to, I think, yeah, this is it. We want to connect to this. So this, we are going to say this in practically, but then you just, I want just everybody to get the concept. So like this is the IP address here. So to be able to connect to a remote server somewhere else, you must have two things. You must have the username and then the IP address. Without these two things, you can't connect. So by default, without passing the public key there, so by default you'll have to authenticate using a password. But then you have already said that authentication using a password is usually not a good idea because of hackers. So hackers can brute force the passwords, and your server will be at risk. Because, for example, you have worked on a project for maybe, let's say, like 6 months. So you have made your good project, maybe let's say it's an app. So now you borrowed money from a friend, you bought the server somewhere else, you bought the server, you can maybe from the digital ocean, and then you hosted it there. But then you authenticated it using a password authentication. So by mistake, let me say by mistake, because nobody likes that, and nobody wishes for it. So by mistake, the hacker now tries to hack your server, and then now there are very many tools that hackers can use. You can use a word list. Personally, I love hacking very much. So during the session of the one who are doing the optional project, attack is the best defense, will look more into how a hacker can get access to your password, how you can protect yourself from it. But then for this case here, let me just start talking about that. But then password authentication, another good thing, you should disable password authentication in your servers. That's the important thing you're supposed to know up to here. So now you say, in order to connect to your server, you must have two things. You must have the username and the IP address. So let me just copy this one. So for an instance here, if you want to connect to your server, you'll have to say, you'll just say SSH, and then username. Let me say just username, and then @ and then this one here, I said this is the IP address. So like IP address, and then this, okay, let me just remove that one. This one is the IP address. So for example, if you want to connect to the server that ALX gave us, we just say SSH Ubuntu, because that's the username that ALX gave it. So Ubuntu @ now Control V, the server that we have the IP address. So if let me connect. Let me do this. We can see that practically in a minute. We are going to connect to the SSH server in a minute right now. So for the moment, we won't do that. Let us just continue. So that's how, I think that's how basically to connect to the remote server. So without knowing all this other process, so I'm sure by now you're asking, okay, we have generated the SSH key pair, but then we are still not using it to connect to the remote server. So what's the use of generating it? Because after us saying SSH Ubuntu at this, we are going to be required to input a password, so that now we can be able to come here. So okay, now let me show you this. I already prepared for this. In your ALX homepage, when you are signing up, you are told to create an SSH key, the keygen, and then paste the public one here, and then remain with the private one. But I'm sure by now most people at that time were using the web term, so I'm sure everybody lost their private key. So we're going to generate this afresh, and then you'll see how this one works. So that's why you pasted it here. So pasting the after generating now the public key here. So after generating this public key here, I took or you can take the public key. and then paste it here in the SSH public key. And then after that, doing that now, that's when now you come here and then now you ask for a server. I'm not going to ask for a server because I've already configured everything here. Yeah, so but then in case you have not done that, that's how you're supposed to do it. So after doing that, so whenever now you type in this command ssh ubuntu at the IP address, you won't be required to input a password. You're just going to be prompted, you trust this, and then once you say yes, you're just going to log in automatically. So that's that. So that's now the importance of doing that. Don't forget this: the SSH key that you normally normally generate, both the public and the private key are usually stored in your own computer. So where you generate them,
How can we get it?
yeah, we're going
Where is this coding?
we are going to come
Okay.
there. We are going to come there. Don't worry. This is just an introduction, so that once we start doing the project, once we start doing the practical itself, you'll know why we are doing what we are doing. We're going to say that in a minute. So that's that. So now how to disable? I think up to here, this is just the basics. Don't worry about the practical part of it. We are going to see everything. We are going to see how to locate the private and the public key in our own machine. We are going to see how to copy it and paste it there. We are going to see also how to connect. We are going to see everything, so don't worry about that. So now finally, the last thing that I wanted us to do an introduction to was also how to disable password authentication, how to disable root login, and then also to add another user. But then adding the other user in our case is not really important, because the Ubuntu we are going to be configuring is only going to be ours. So let me draw another line so that you can finish this, and then now head out to them. So now we are here. So now here you can see I won't try this all over again. So how to disable password authentication. So this one is really simple. So if you have already now set up, okay, let me just try. I don't want us to, yeah. So if this can only be possible, you can say, okay, let me just do this. This is the problem. I think I'm going to look for a better app of teaching, doing this, of whiteboarding. This one is good, but then my friend told me there's a better one, but then he didn't tell me which is the better one, so we'll say that. So the disabling password authentication can only be possible after you have already set up all these things. I'm not saying you can't disable them without the SSH configuration, but then I think it would be better to disable it after you have already now set up SSH authentication, because without that, then everybody can be able to log into your server even without the password, which is really a bad idea. So make sure you disable after now you have already set up your SSH keygen. So in this case here now, so in order for someone to disable password authentication, you're supposed to locate the file called SSH config. The SSH config file is the one that normally has all these let's say settings about the SSH configuration. So all these settings are normally in this etc directory, and then in the directory called SSH, and then SSH config. We are going to see that also. So I think it's SSH. Is it SSH or SSHD? Yeah, I think it's SSHD. Okay, okay, I'm not sure. Okay, is it SSHD or is it SSH? Okay, we're going to say that in a minute. We're going to confirm that also. So you just go into this directory called etc ssh config. So this is the file itself. So don't confuse this. Let me change this one. Oh, okay, I didn't want us to change it all, but then okay. So this is the file itself. The file itself is normally the settings themselves are normally in the SSHD config file, but then the directory itself starts from etc. So you can just cd into etc and then cd into ssh, and then if you ls now, you are going to see this file. So coming into here now, into this sshd file, you're going to see that, and then you're supposed to look for the file called password authentication. Yeah, password authentication. By default, from what I saw, it's normally commented out, or maybe if it's not commented out, you'll see that it's yes. But then in our case, you are supposed to edit it to be no, so that a person won't have to be using password to be authenticated. He'll be using SSH. And then you'll also look for another file also to disable root login in the same SSHD config called, I think it's root I'm not sure, but then I think the file itself, it's permit, it's permit root login, I think. Yeah, root login, I think that's the name. So by default also it's normally yes, but then you're supposed to also change it to be no, so that now no person will be able to log in as root. There are several advantages of this, but then before I mention them, let me see if I want somebody to help us with this. So advantages, or let me just say advantages of disabling root login. Yeah, so advantages of disabling root login. So I want somebody to help me with that. So let me see. Michael. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. Okay, I guess you can hear me. Let me just mention two other. Brandon. Hello, Brandon. Hello. Okay, also, I don't want. Hello, hey, Terence. Hello, Terence.
Hi.
Hello, welcome. Okay.
Thank you. I'm good.
So a quick one here. So,
But
pardon?
I'm not able to answer that question at the moment.
Okay, sure. Okay, let me one last person. Let me say, I won't say Tochuku. Tochuku has already said something. Yeah, it increases security. Yeah, Jason has said it increases security, which is actually correct. Yeah, so one advantage of disabling root login is it increases security. I'm sure maybe you are saying, how does it increase security? We're going to see that also. It increases security. Maybe I can explain on this, how it increases security. So okay, as I was telling you guys, so hackers are usually good people, but then they're usually still bad people, because okay, ethical hackers are the only ones who are good people. The other types of hackers are not usually good people. So you can say the black hackers now, they can get into your system and then mess up your system. Yeah, maybe even delete very important files, or maybe get access to very important files. And most of the times, the root user is usually the one who normally has all those privileges. So one advantage of disabling root login is that even if a hacker gets into your system, he can be able to delete important files or maybe change important settings, because the root login, the root login is already it's not acceptable. So even if he gets access to your server, the only thing that he can be able to do is maybe just, let me say, maybe just get some certain information, but then he can't change any important settings that will affect your server. So that's one advantage of root login. So it increases security. Not increases. It's supposed to be it increases security. Let me delete this. It's supposed to, yeah. So thank you, Jason, for that. It increases security. Okay, Gabriel, do you have something to add on that before we finish up? One advantage of disabling root login.
Basically, for audit purpose, so
For
I think it's okay. Audit purpose,
audit.
yes.
Okay.
Just like a kind of security and audit or whatsoever.
Okay, I think.
Like protection, a root protection
Okay, okay,
of your.
okay. So what's the difference between it increases security and protection? What's the difference between the two? I think they are more like similar in a way. But then let me
They
say that.
won't actually they won't actually have an access to your root login now. Once there's is
Yeah, but then
high
let me say improve
security.
security because it's also true actually. If you disable the root login, your security will be better because of these hackers. Yeah. So guys, I normally say there's something I normally say. Even if you are a software engineer, don't just be coding and you don't know how to protect your websites. Yeah. So learn a bit of these hacking tools so that you'll be able to also sorry about that, so that you'll be able to protect your websites. Yeah. So once again, I'll repeat, for those who are doing the optional project, the one attack is the best defense. We are going to talk all about this, how to protect your websites once you have configured it, how to stop things like man in the middle attack. Yeah, how to maybe, because there are certain people, because like for example right now you're connected to your own internet, to your own home internet. So maybe I'm not saying that's the case, but then by chance maybe somebody has already hacked your Wi-Fi right now, and he has an idea of what you are doing. So you're going to save that in case somebody here is also doing the optional project. In case nobody is doing it, just meet up in another day. Yeah, we won't add anything else on that, because that's that. The main advantage of disabling root login is just it increases security and it improves. So on security, I don't think you have left out anything. Okay, to add another user, the command to on adding another user, you are just supposed to know the command. The command is usually just simple. It's just add user, and then and then the name of the user. Say name user here, name of user, and then you'll be prompted with some few settings that you're supposed to do, the password, things like that. So we are going to see about that. And then what else have I left out? Let me see. I don't think I've left out anything. I've already talked about what is a server, and then went to connect, how to a server, how to connect to another. Okay. We have not talked about how to connect to another server located in the same place. All I meant was that in this one here, I wanted us to connect to this. These are two different servers here. So this is my Ubuntu terminal. This one here I downloaded it from Microsoft Store, but then this one here I installed this one using WSL. But then the one I installed using the WSL, I think it's corrupt because the SSH key here, this is the config file here, doesn't want to be restarted, so I can't work with it. So I wanted us to connect to these two. I wanted us to connect to the other one here, but then I don't think that's going to be possible because it's corrupt. But then in either way, it's still possible as long as you have the username and then the IP address. You can do that. So that's that. Yeah, so now we have already seen what is an SSH. We've seen how to generate an SSH, and then we also know which one is the private and public, and then finally to disable, root, all of that. So now let us go here. For the meantime, because I'll just use this one here, because let me just use to generate the keygen, but then the project will use the other one here. So let me just clear this. So first thing first, we have said, in order for you to generate a key pair, a keygen, you use the command SSH keygen. That's the command you normally use. If you press enter, it's going to generate a public and a private RSA key pair, and then there are normally two, as you can see, the public and the private key. We have already seen the difference between the two, and then as you can see, they are going to be saved in the home folder. This is the username, of course, and then in a directory called .ssh, and then the name is the IDRSA. By default, if you
Sorry,
run, yeah, so by
this
default, if you, yeah,
ID under
sure, feel
this,
free.
the ID underscore the RSC is it a file? The last one.
No, now this is the name. This is the name that the key will be saved as. Yeah, after
Okay, it's not
after you
it's not a
generate the
file.
key, it will be saved IDRSA. But then if you want to change the name, you can also be able to do that.
Okay, what of .ssh? Is that one the file?
Now that's a directory where now this
Or
IDRSA
there's a
is.
directory?
Yeah.
Okay.
So by default you'll be told enter the file in where you want to save the key. I normally don't change the directory where I want to save it, so I just press enter. You'll be told enter the paraphrase. So the paraphrase is something like, in case maybe someone is
Okay, the
trying to
best,
hack you.
the best, the
Yep.
best, the best idea is not to choose any file. I mean,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
press enter.
Yeah. The best idea is not to choose any other option, because the default option is normally available. So I don't think there's any need of choosing another file.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now you'll be prompted to enter a paraphrase, where maybe when a hacker tries to hack you, he'll be required to brute force it using some word list so that you can get access to it. So this one you can just say it's for adding for extra protection. Yeah. Personally, I don't add also that one, so I'll just press enter, and then you enter the paraphrase again, enter again. So now you can see, so your identification has been saved. Okay, so let me see that. Who has raised up his hand? Who is that? Okay, Brendan. Okay, sure, Brendan. Feel free.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. I'm okay. What about you?
I'm fine. I'm doing fine. Thanks.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you. So, it's better to not add a paraphrase. So you just press enter.
Yeah, okay. You can enter the paraphrase if you want. An advantage of adding the paraphrase is for adding an extra layer of protection, so security. Yeah, but then it's not compulsory.
Okay.
Yeah, because normally one advantage of the SSH key pair, we'll see that in a minute after we cut out the file. It's normally very long. So even if a hacker tries to brute force it, getting all those characters will take him like forever. So that's why I don't think there's normally a reason for adding the paraphrase.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
You
so
can continue.
yeah, okay, sure. Okay, so now in this case here, after you've already generated your public key, you'll be told to where it has been saved. As you can see, if I try to ls, it's empty, but then it's still saying it has been saved in the home folder, and I'm in the home folder right now. So you can wonder, okay, let me do this. Let me go to root. I want to show you guys something. Sorry about that. So ls, okay, I've gone back to the root. So here I want to go. As you can see here, it's saying the identification has been saved in the home folder, in the home directory. So I'll go into home. So into home, this home. So to go into home, it just that. So now I'm in the home. But then if I try to list all files here, it's still empty. So you can wonder,
Hello.
how is it that it's in the
Sorry.
home folder, but then the home folder is still
Sorry.
empty? Yeah. Okay, Gabriel, are you trying to say something?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you want to go to home now, you do CD. What
The
sign is that?
I don't know what it's called, but I don't know what's called. But then, okay,
Okay,
let
that
me.
okay. Once you do that, you are in the home, Abby.
Yeah. Now I'm in the home folder, the home
Okay,
directory.
okay. No problem.
Yeah, okay. Let me try. Let me try this. Let me see if I say home, cd home, it's going to work. Yeah, still works. But then, okay. I don't
Okay.
I don't want that. I just want original one, so I'll just say that one. So clear. So as you can see now, it's here. So it's okay, sorry. So it's saying it's saved in the home directory, but then I'm in the home, but then I still can't see it. So what I'll do here, I'll do this. So the reason to us why you can't see it, I think I've already said that, is because of this .ssh. So if a directory is, if you maybe if you create a directory with a .ssh, it's going to be hidden by default. So the .ssh is what makes it to be not seen. So now
Eh?
I want you guys to just look, to just get something here. So it's in the SSH directory, and then it's saved as ID RSA. That's it. So let me clear this. That's the only thing I want you guys to get there. So now I'll say this. I'll cd now into the directory SSH. Because as you can see, it's saying no file or directory called that. Okay, but then still, let me say cd, and then okay, let me say sudo. I think you have to use sudo privileges for this. So I'll just cd, and then cd, and then because it's a directory SSH, and then you'll be prompted for the password. Have to. So what is it? So it's saying cd is a shell command, cannot be run directly. Ugh, this one. Why is it? Let me just do cd. Just do the sudo. Let me just sudo home. Okay. Sudo cd into. I hope this one works. SSH. I don't know why it's not. This is why I didn't want to. We still have to use this directory here because of. So cd into etc. Let me just go into this directory itself because of that. So if we ls here, so and then cd into ssh. So now ssh config, so host k ssh ssh config import. Okay, it's okay. This one is okay. You're not supposed to come here, so don't worry about that one. Let me see once again. Hope this time it works. So .ssh slash why is it now okay? Was I using a different command the first time? Yeah, this is the same command I was using the first time, but now it's working. As you can see now, I've now changed my directory now into now the home folder in the home directory. I like using folder because I'm using Windows, but in the future I'll change. So I've changed my directory now into the home directory, and then now into the directory called .ssh. So if I list out the commands now in the directory, you can see we have only two files here. The first file here is called idrsm. As you can see, it doesn't have any extension here. So because it doesn't have any extension, this is the private key.
Private.
This is the private one. The one that has a .pub extension now, this one now is the public key. Does anyone have a question up to there first of all?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, feel free.
Please, can you come back to this, please? How you get to idrsc
Okay.
pub? Can you clear it and come back to this?
Okay, let me clear out. Okay, let us just start this all over again. Let us just create. Let me clear all this. So let us create the keygen once again. So ssh keygen. It's going to overwrite it. Keygen. It's it's just going to overwrite it. So it's going to generate a private, but then so enter the file. Okay, personally I don't want, so you're going to say overwrite it because it's already exists. I'll just say yes, and then paraphrase, I don't want any paraphrase, and then now it will be told your identity will be solving the Maitha one, things like that. So now to be able to go to get here, we just use the same command. So I just change the directory. As you can still, if I ALS from here, there's still nothing, but then just change the directory, use this file, this I don't know how I'm supposed to call this character, but then it's near the number one key, but I don't know. I
You
don't
say
know.
you can do
Yeah,
CD home now. It's still the same thing.
yeah, this okay. So CD that, and then now because it's a directory, that's why I'm starting this slash and then dot SSH. So have you seen that? So if I try to ls now, as you can see, these are two here. So id rsa and then id rsa.pub. So now that's that. So I hope everybody is okay up to here. So let me just cd and then clear this. So ls, yeah, so let me go to this ls, so cd home ls, so cd into, so and then now let me say ls, let me say all ls listen. So okay, there's an easier method of doing this in case you get the command to be a little bit challenging. You can just use the normal way, but then I think this takes a lot of time. You can just change, go to change to move a directory backwards. So using this slash, you go one directory backwards, and then you go to the default one where you have bin, dev, boot, home, things like that, all of these directories here, and then you'll change you'll change ucld into directory, you change directory into home, and then if you list home, you'll see the user that's available there. So this is the only user here, that's why you can see my one Nule. And then now coming here, if you cd now into this user, and then if you just list, it's going to be empty. But then if you list all now, you're going to see all the hidden directories also. If you list all the hidden directories now, you'll be able to see this .ssh directory also. So you can cd it from here .ssh. I think you'll still have to use that .ssh, and okay, .ssh, or maybe that cd .ssh. Yeah, you just, and then you can, if you change directory from here, you don't have to use all those other commands. You just cd .ssh, and then if you list, you're going to see them also. So it's your choice. You can just use the direct method, or you can also use this long method. Either way, both of them still work. Okay, sorry, Mama, I don't want to use this. So okay, so okay. Yeah, so it's empty like that. So now I want us to generate a new keygen, but then this time round I want us to change the name that's going to be saved, because by default it normally has its own name, but then I want us to change its name so that you can see that you don't have you can change the name. It doesn't have to be default. So SSH still the same way, keygen.
Easy, sorry.
So and then you'll be, so now okay, let me okay, let me just feel free, sure.
Okay. Sorry for
It's okay.
This thing now, is it saved if you move out of this sandbox completely? You
Yeah.
move out of this terminal.
Mm-hmm.
Can you find this in inside your system, as in out of this sandbox? Can you find it inside your system? This key.
Okay.
Can you find it inside your system?
One thing before anything, I'm not using the sandbox. I'm not using the. I'm using this is my own. I installed Ubuntu. I installed Ubuntu
Okay.
terminal here, so I'm not using the sandbox.
Okay, that mean if you move out of terminal, I can still see this thing in your system, as in
Yeah,
if you go to
this one
your
is in my
folder, I can
system.
see it.
Yeah, in my system. But then you'll still have to use this same terminal, because remember, I've created this keygen using this Ubuntu terminal. So I can't access it from any other terminal except this Ubuntu terminal. I don't know if you're getting me there.
Okay.
Yeah. So now,
Okay. And
sure.
secondly, my own now,
Yeah.
can we this our LST stuff? Can we change this our former key? Because I think my own, I have messed something up. I want to generate a new one. Can I remove the one I put in my profile and put in another one there? Is it
Yeah,
possible?
sure. You can do that. You can do that. You can do that. You can do that. So, okay. We are going to get there. We're going to get there. Let me just run this command, and then we get there right now. Okay. Hello. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure. In case you are raising your hand, okay, Michael, feel free. Okay. In case you are raising your hand, just feel free. Just unmute yourself.
Hello,
Hello.
Ahmed.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sure. Sure. We
Hello,
can
can you
hear.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, okay. What the challenge I'm facing right now is if I create a new cage in my terminal
Mm-hmm.
and try to connect the server they gave me,
Mm-hmm.
the ALX gave me,
Mm-hmm.
it refused it. Is the public key is not. I think permission denied. It says permission denied. So. Do you think I should change the SSH key we inputted before
Yeah.
on our profile?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So
That's the
I
best
should
thing. Yeah.
copy the new keygen and paste it to paste it to the space they give on my profile.
Yeah. 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 That's the best thing. Personally, that's what I did, because I knew the key I pasted the first time, I already lost the private key that I had. So instead of going back and forth, I decided just to remove the one I had put in my profile, and then I generated a new key and then pasted it there, and then generated a new server, and then everything was okay.
So, because then after I did that, I have to ask a new server, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You have to ask for a new server that will be generated using the key that you have now pasted.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
It's
Thank you
okay.
very much.
It's okay. It's okay. So this one is the last thing here we want us to do. Okay, one last person, so that we can finish up on this one, guys. So okay. I think that was a mistake. So let us finish up on this one. So as I was saying, so now you can also change the default name, that the key can be saved. But then, in order for it to be the name to be saved, you have to type the whole. You can say the whole path. So in this case here, because it's saved in the home, one nule, and then in the directory.ssh, I'll just type the whole file, the whole path. So .home, and then one nule, and then .ssh, and then now I want us to let's say we just use the default name that Alex said we should use in the box. Okay, or you can just call it. Today is a Sunday, so let me say PLD Sunday. Let's just call it PLD Sunday, so that you can see doesn't have to have any other name. And then paraphrase. I don't want any paraphrase. No one. So as you can see, because we have saved it with another name, that command, that prompt of what is this command that used to come. Okay, I've forgotten it. But then we are in this case now. We are going to have four keygens here. The first two that we have created the first time, and then this one called PLD Sunday. So just let's cd into now the directory.ssh and then see it. So I think that's that. So if we are ls, as you can see, we have two files here. So this is the first one that has been saved using the default name idrsa, and then these other two here are the ones now we have created right now. The one PLD Sunday. So the one PLD Sunday without an extension, that is the private
I
one.
have a question.
Okay, sure, feel free.
the ID underscore RSA and the ID underscore RSA.pub. Can we see it? How can we access it?
Okay, we're going to access it, but then we're going to access it right now. So I think everything is clear right now. So this PLD Sunday without an extension, it's public, it's private, and then PLD with public, it's private. So let me clear this so that you can see the files. So ALX. So if you want to get the contents now of this one, just use the cat command as easy. The cat command, just cut that one, and then you can see it. Now this is what I was saying. The one that doesn't have an extension is the private key. So if you cut it, you'll see begin OpenSSH private key. So this private key should never, and I repeat, never be copied. So no, you should never copy this out to anyone, even if you trust the person. Never. This one should just remain in your system, so as you can see. So if you cut the RSA, you can see. So this is why I was telling you guys, there's no need of inputting the passkey, because even if you are a hacker, brute forcing this using a word list is going to be really difficult, because these words even here can't make a sentence, because you can see the first one starts with B and then 3B. This is not a word. For those who are into hacking also, they know in order to brute force using a word list, you have to create a word list that has certain words. So I don't think there's any word list that you can create that can be able to brute force this, because what words will you use here? Because if you say B, a small b and a capital B, and then look at here, you have capital S, B, L, small w, even you have a plus, you have J. I don't think this one is going to be easy. It's possible, but then it's not easy. So you can also cut out, let me ls also, you can also cut out the private one, the public one, so that you can see the difference too. So the public one also has a but then the private, as you can see, the public one is a little bit shorter. So the public is longer, the private one is shorter, but then still you can't still brute force it, because either way, I don't think this is a sentence or this is a word.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
I think the reason why the public key is shorter, because normally it's a public, then private has to be secured.
Yeah.
So that it will bring it. If somebody wants to even copy, it will bring kind of confusion.
Yeah. I think.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
I think that's just yes, for security purpose.
And I think that's true, guys, because if this public key was longer, then pasting it somewhere will be a lot of work. So up to here right now, does anyone have a question? In case you have a question, just feel free. Okay, I think there's no question here. So now, after now you have generated this, okay, I want us, okay, one last thing now before we move on to the task, to the project, to the task itself. So this one last thing that we are supposed to do, let me show you. So how to disable password authentication, how to disable root login and add another user. So to be able to do this, as I told you guys, you must be able to, you must now edit this file here, this file called sshd config. So let us open it. Mine has an error, but then still I've pasted a new one from this other Ubuntu terminal that I normally use for my ALX work. So I think it's still going to be okay. Let me just cd, let me just move out of this. So yeah, I think let me just go back to the home directory. Yeah, I think that's that. So clear. So now if you want to stop password authentication and root login, it's really simple. So first thing first, you have to go into the directory called etc. So you just say etc. I'll just go slowly so that everybody gets this. And then if you come here, you'll cd into SSH. Normally just do this so because I don't get an error. It's saying okay. So cd.ssh. Let me see that. Let me see. Okay, I think I'll just say SSH. Yeah, SSH just like that. And then if I ls now, you're going to get this. So I was telling you guys, you're supposed to edit this file called ssh. Oh, it was called, it's okay, is it SSHD? I think, okay, let me see, cat SSHD, let me see if it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. This is the one you're supposed to change. Oh, I guess I didn't change this properly. I was supposed to change this too. Okay, thanks for that. So just so so that you can be able to edit this file here, you use a file called recommend nano. So, and to be able to do that, you must use root privileges. So sudo nano and then sshd. Let me just copy it because of time. So you prompted for a password as usual. The one there. And then it's here. So now, if you come here, you're supposed to come and look for a file called password authentication. As you can see here, it says authentication. So you just come, so look for a file called public key authentication and place it to yes. So by default, they are most of these files are usually commented out. So you should uncomment them, and so public key authentication yes, because I want it to be authenticated using public key. And then also, what else? I want us to also password authentication. Let me see, in case you see it. So as you can see here, password authentication by default. So it was commented. So now we have uncommented it, and then you can see it's saying password authentication yes, but then we don't want it to be authenticated using password, so you just place no, just like that. And then everything else, I think it's okay like that. So let me see, print successes, long see something else here, override. I don't think there's something else it's supposed to do here. Keyboard interactive authentication, no. I think include etc htfig file, listen to 0 commit plan. Okay, I think that's that. So you need a
So for public you are putting yes.
yeah. So for public key you put yes. For public key authentication yes, because we want it to be authenticating using public key. But then now for password authentication we have placed no, because we don't want password authentication. I hope that makes sense. So to be able to save this, you control X and then you say modified buff, and then you just say yes and then press enter. So but after doing that, you have to check to make sure that that file doesn't have an error. Yeah, you just can't just use it like that. So in order to do that, you use the command sudo sshd and then the flag T. Mine will bring an error, I already know, because of this. Mine will bring an error, but then yours should not bring an error. Yeah, there's something this file came out, this I installed it like this. So I was trying to do this, but then it already brought this error. So in your case, make sure you run the sudo sshd and then the flag T to make sure that your buffer doesn't have an error. After doing that, if it doesn't have an error, so if I try to run this in my own terminal, let me copy this. If I run this here, you'll see that it's one. Let me just do it. It doesn't have an error, so that's how it's supposed to be. It should not have an error. I'll just edit out this one. I'll look for time and edit out so that it also works. So after that, the next thing you're supposed to do is to restart the SSH service. There are different methods to use this. You can, if you're using Mac, I think both commands work, but then if it doesn't work, there's another command used. For those who are just using Ubuntu terminal like this, you can just use the sudo to restart the SSH. Make sure you restart the SSH service so that the edits that you have made will work. So you sudo, and I think it's service restart SSH service SSH restart. Yeah, mine will bring an error because as I already told you, the sudo, because this one, in case this one had passed, then this second one will not have brought an error, but then because it failed, of course I must get an error here. But then if I run this one in my own terminal, it will not bring an error. I already tried it and I saw that it worked. So after doing that, make sure you restart your SSH service so that everything will be okay. So now let's clear that. Now up to there, now everything will be okay. So all now you have to do is, now let me just move from this cd again, ls, or not here. So yeah, so it's empty. So now I want us to start doing this task together. So let me see.
So yeah, Ahmed.
Yeah,
Ahmed,
Gabriel. Yes.
This password, this thing is requesting. What password is? Did the ALX give us any password to?
Oh, the password that you normally asked when you
yes.
try to run sudo.
Yes.
Your own password, the password that you normally use for your Ubuntu.
Oh.
Yeah, when
okay,
you install
the
Ubuntu,
terminal password.
Yeah, pardon.
Is it that password in our terminal that we normally use to get access to the terminal?
Yeah, that's the password.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So who is ready? Just feel free. Jason. Okay, Jason. Okay, let me look at the chat. Okay, so are we to do it in our internet sandbox? No, Jason. I don't think you should be using this in your own. Guys, by now, for those who attended the session on Friday, I think we already talked about this. By now, you should not be using your intranet, the web term in your intranet, unless maybe you are far away from your laptop, and maybe you don't have your phone is not set up for this. But then by now, make sure you have your own. Sorry about that. Make sure by now you have your own development environment in your laptop. For those, maybe you can use Git Bash, Ubuntu terminal, things like that. But then for the web term, that's a good idea. So if we do it on our sandbox, will we get a password? Yeah, but then we'll get a password. But then the problem with getting a password is that now we have so many passwords there. So because the web term is not yours, so I don't think it's a good idea using it there. Just a minute, guys.
Oh, sorry.
It's really raining hard right now in our area, so that's why. Okay, Jason. Okay, sure. But then I hope everybody has got that. Please don't be using your web term right now. Just look for something. You can use Docker, but then using your web term right now, it's not a good idea. So yeah. So
but sorry. This web terminal you're talking about now, like me now, I use Replit. There's one called Replit. Then if I go to that terminal, I will now go and get my sandbox. I use my sandbox SSH and password to connect it. Is that what you're talking about, or
no? Okay, yeah. No. Well, okay. For example, let me ask you this: what are you using, a MacBook or a Windows laptop?
Windows.
Okay, you can download Ubuntu in Windows and still be using it to be doing your projects. Have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't tried that. Yeah. I always use that terminal. Like if I want to use another this thing, I'll copy the SSH, that terminal SSH and password, and log in. So I didn't know that you can have another setup outside that one. So
yeah, that don't by now using the web term is not good, because for example, what if you graduate? What will you be using? Because you can't be doing your own projects using the web term and you've already graduated. So if you are using Windows, you can just go to Microsoft Store, download Ubuntu from there, and still configure everything, and everything will still work. Is that okay, Tochuko?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's that. So now, I think we can start on this task. Yeah, so first thing first here, please, in your intranet, there's this page on technical information. There's this SSH public key here. So okay, let's just do this by default. For those who are during the session I was starting, you already know we have already generated the key. So let me just go there to where the key is .ssh. So ls, yeah, we're just going to use this ID, this one here, because this is the public one. So I just cut it out. So sorry, that's the private one. So cut the public key is the one that has
Can you go back a bit?
Okay, sure.
Can you start all over, please?
Okay,
From LS.
I'm here. So it's empty. So let me clear. It's empty. If I ls, it's empty. Okay. By default, it's not supposed to be empty because okay. Let me just use this one here. Let me use my own intranet here. So let me just cd into this. So and then cd into this. Let me ls. Then cd into this, so that you can see this together. So now clear. So now I'm in the directory itself. I'm in the directory where we're supposed to be doing the project. So first thing first, for you to start this project, you must now take your public key from your own computer after you have generated it and then paste it in the intranet. So now you want to go to where now the public key is. So you just cd home and then into the .ssh, and then now if we're less, we are going to get them here. The personal, so the one that doesn't have an extension, we said we already know about that, and then this one too, you know, this is the public one. So we'll take the public one here. So I'll just cut the public one. So you just copy it up to here. Make sure you don't leave anything out. Come and then come here into the technical in your profile, into my profile here on the intranet, and then come to the SSH public key and then paste it there. After pasting it, make sure you hit the save button. So after hitting the save button, now come back here in where you are supposed to do your project. Come here into now your servers and then ask for a new server. I think it only takes less than a minute. I think it depends on the internet connection. So it takes less than a minute, and then a new server will pop up. So you'll have a username, IP address, the state. I think once you ask for a new server, the state will be pending. I don't know why. Yesterday while I was doing it, I found it, but then today it's changed, and then it will have a name. So the most important things here you're supposed to have is the username and the IP address. Up to there, I believe everyone is okay. So now, so in task 0, it was saying use a public key. So write a bash script that uses SSH to connect to your server using the private key, this, with the user Ubuntu. The requirement: use only SSH. You cannot use this L, like this flag L, and then you do not need to handle the case of a protected paraphrase. Yeah. So okay. So let me just do this because of going back and forth. I don't want that. So let me just clear. Let me just move out of this. So I'll just cd into that, and then cd into the. You're supposed to create this directory. This is the new directory for this project. As first thing first. Okay, I'm normally good into. I normally like writing the readme. Okay, the first thing first, readme as usual. The first readme as usual. Start by writing your readme about the project, things about that. I don't think it's a good idea just giving the readme. Your readme should not just have the project, what the project is all about. Make it a little bit informative. Yeah, I'm not saying mine is usually that informative, but then at least make it informative. I can just cut it out for you guys a little bit. just make it a little bit informative so that people will know what this is all about. And then now we'll start with the first one. So, and then create the first file. I already did this, so I won't do it all over again. So the first thing first here, the first thing in the requirements they were saying the first line should be exactly this one. So that's why the first line was that. The second line should be a bash comment, should be a comment explaining what the script is doing. Everybody knows how to write a comment, so the contents of your comment, you're the one who's going to decide on that. And then now now you finally come now to the script itself. So it was saying write a bash script that uses SSH. So it uses SSH to connect, so to connect to your server using the private key, and then use the user Ubuntu. So that's why you did this. So it's using this flag here. I put this flag here to specify that it's going to be using this. You'll be using this key here. So this is the private key, because as you can see it doesn't have the extension. You should not forget about that one. And then now Ubuntu at 100. This one is here. This one is the Ubuntu, the username, and then the IP address. That's as usual. As you can see, as I was saying during the startup, you should not forget that if you want to connect, where is it? If you are connecting to a remote server, all you need is just SSH and then username at IP address. So it's still the same thing. The only difference here is that ALX wanted us to specify that we are going to connect using this private key. So that's why this command came in. But then in a case where we don't need that, we just say SSH Ubuntu at that, and it's going to connect. So I think that's that. I'm just not going to say that because I'm already finished with that. I don't want to just to check the checkers again. If you check your code, I think everything should be okay. So now, and then now the first task. So create an SSH key. So create an SSH key pair. So write a bash script that creates an RSA key pair. So the requirements. So the name of the created private key should be school. The number of bits created should be that. And then the created key should be protected by a paraphrase called Betty. So here, the name, okay, the name, I'm sure I've already talked about the name. The only thing here, this one is going to be, the only difference here, the only thing we have not talked about here is that creates an RSA key pair. So this one here, an RSA, this is the only thing we have not talked about here. So in that case, I'll want someone to help us with that. So let me see, SSH keygen. I don't want us to type that. So let me mention a name. Let me mention just somebody, because let me see who. Let me see. I was not saying anything. Emmanuel, I've not heard your name. Hey Emmanuel. Hello. Hello Emmanuel. Okay, can't tell me somebody. Let me see. In case you're talking, we can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. Good evening.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, can you hear me right now?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. We can hear you. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I want you to help us with this command that we can add into this. We know in order to create a keygen, we just say RSA and then the keygen name. But then now we want to add up so that it becomes an RSA key pair. So what command should we add here so that it becomes an RSA? So that the key the generated becomes an RSA. So which one? Okay, sorry about that. So where is it?
Sorry, please. I'm just. It wasn't long. I just entered in.
Oh, okay. Sorry
And
about that.
I've not started. I've not started the project at all.
But I hope up to now, I think you have some concepts that you can start with them.
that is why I'm happy to in fact to see that there is a PLD so
Okay,
that
okay, sure. I
I
hope
can
by the time you are done, at least you'll know how to start, or maybe do the project
I,
itself. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for that.
and,
Still.
and I want to take the opportunity and also say thank you even for your for sharing your time.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, I normally say something. We must graduate. So graduation is compulsory here, and I don't want us to
Oh,
graduate with high scores. I want us to graduate with skills. So that's why I normally take my time to study and then share on what I get. So that's it.
but actually you are doing very great and we appreciate.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone
Thank you
else
very much.
also for coming here. So okay. So yeah, Gabriel. Yeah, graduation is compulsory. You must graduate. So okay, let me see someone. Terence. Oh, Terence has said something. No, no. They say Tochuku, help us with this one here. So
Okay, okay,
we want us to create
okay.
an RSA, and
What is the question?
so
Sorry.
we want to write a bash script that creates an RSA key pair. We know how to create the key, but then now we only didn't learn about the part of now creating the RSA key. So I was asking which flag and which or maybe which command should I add here so that we can be able to do that, so that the
Okay,
key that should
I
be generated will be an RSA.
to create okay to make it that okay to create always a key. I think you use flag. I think hyphen T,
Hyphen
then
T,
RSA,
RSA,
then RSA,
and then
then then for name. I think they said that name of the created private key must be school. Okay, we are. They say we are going to name it school. Is that what is that it?
yeah, naming in school we won't name it here, but then here we also finish up on this number of bits. So how can I add
Okay,
so that you can be able to create this number of bits? What should I add here?
okay. Number of bits.
Yeah.
Wait, the first one is it school? That one I wrote. Is this? I don't understand. Which one are you saying that I should do first? Is
Okay.
it the school
The school,
or
the name of the school to be private, we are going to specify it after we press enter. But then now, because we are doing this practically, we are not writing the script and then
okay?
running it later. We are running it right now. So that's why I'm saying then to specify the
Okay,
private
okay,
name, we'll do
okay,
it later. Yeah.
okay. That bit I think is hyphen B,
P.
hyphen B. Yes.
Yeah, B.
Then 4096 followed by 4096.
So 4096. Okay. So okay, let me ask you something here small.
Okay.
Okay, so this flag negative B is the one that specifies the number of bits that the file should have, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and then this
Yes.
flag negative T is the one that specify that the key created should have an RSA pair.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so if I
Yes.
press enter, it won't pop an error.
Uh, if you press enter,
It won't pop an
uh,
error.
I'm not sure, but let's see.
Okay, let's see.
If
Let
you
me.
want to change,
Eh,
if you want to change the
eh.
name of the this thing,
The name will change it.
then
The name,
I
don't
think
worry. Don't worry about the name.
okay,
We're going to
okay,
change
don't
the
worry,
name.
okay,
So
okay,
let me press enter, right?
okay, okay, yes.
Yeah, so it's okay. As you can see, generating public key RSA key pair. So let it generate.
I'm not seeing your.
Okay, let me maximize. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yes, you
generating.
can see it.
Yeah. So generating public key RSA there. So now they were saying the private key should be saved as school. So to, as I told you guys. Okay, no, because we've already seen this. Let me mention a
But
name.
sorry,
Yeah.
can't we add flag for changing that name at that
Okay.
first line instead of? I think we can do that.
Now that's what I was telling you.
You can.
What flag should I use? Let me terminate this one. Okay, what flag should I add here?
Okay, I think it's hyphen
Hyphen F and then school.
F school. Then if you want to, uh, you can see add flag for that passphrase. If you add
So
hyphen capital N, then Betty,
capital N and then the passphrase
Bet,
should be Betty.
Bet, Betty, yes.
So
I think
that's
if you
okay.
do it like this, I think yes, Lonnie, let's see.
Okay. So generating public RSA key pair. Okay, let's see. Okay. So now, as you can see, your identification has been saved in school. That's it. So your public key has been saved. Is the public key now is called school.pub, and then the key is that. But then, okay, we won't see for the moment how the name of the name of the passphrase. But then this flag n, the negative n with capital, is the one that specifies that the passphrase should be called Betty. This flag negative s is the one that specifies that the public key, that the private key should be called school. So now if we try to cd into it dot ssh, sorry, dot sh, we can see that, and then if I ls, we'll see that. Why can't I see it? Let me see. Okay, okay, I know why. I know why. The reason also we can't see it here is because we didn't specify the location here, the location where we wanted the location to save this. That's why we can see it here. So it was saying has been saved in school. So okay, let me cd. Let me just cd back and see this. Okay, as you can see, it's here. So that's why it didn't open. But then it has been saved in school. So school.pub. So I hope everybody understand now this here.
I have a question.
Okay, sure, feel free.
This the first command you use after this RSA public key,
Yeah.
where you say the cd home slash ssh.
Yeah.
If you still say cd home in full, write the home in full slash ssh. Is
Yeah.
it going to generate the same thing?
Okay, it's going to generate the same thing, but then I think I already talked about this. But then the problem is, if you use the home now, home, you are going to use the long way. Let me show you. That. ls. So okay, let me do this. First thing, you'll have to go one directory backwards to be able to do that, because for the moment, if you ls, just see 2 here. So as you can see, so now we are in the home directory. If you ls, we are going to see now the user. So you cd into the user. Sorry, you cd into the user, and then if you ls here, now you'll see the school and then the school.pub. Now this private key is here. But then now, if you want now the SSH directory, the SSH directory, you'll have to ls list all, and then you'll see all the hidden folders, the hidden directories, which is this one here. So have you gotten that
Good
now?
evening. Welcome.
Yes, Gabriel.
Okay, the one you highlighted na ssh.
Yeah. So the one I highlighted was the one that was. If you want to see it, you'll have to list all. If you list all, you'll see it. So
Before you list all, where are you going to be in the root directory? When you now list all, you now
okay,
see everything.
you don't have to be in the root directory. Even if you're still in the same directory here, in the same directory here, you can still just ls, but list all.
All.
If you forget to use this all, you won't see it. If you list all, you'll see it. But then if you just list ls, you won't see it. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what's left. So we have already seen about task 1. So task 1, that was it for task 1. Nothing
I think
else.
I think that's another step. I think that's another faster step to do list all.
If you list
get
all,
the directory where
if
the
you just ls list all,
you see the
this one is faster compared to all other processes. So I think you can also be using this one.
I'm saying.
Yeah, so personally, okay, the reason was why I was showing you guys all the methods that I found, so that you'll choose which one is better for you, because everybody has a different method of learning. So the one you found to be easier, use that one. So in task 2 now, I think that's it for task 1. If you check, I think that's it. So now in task 2 it was saying your machine has an SSH configuration file for the local SSH client. Let's configure it so that we have already talked about this one. So this one is really simple. You just have to come and edit this file here. If you edit this file here, let us do it so that okay, 10 minutes to go before the session ends. So nano, I joined the 100 days ALX challenge, so I normally post around this time. I don't want the day to end before posting. So
Please, though, is the session recorded? Because my phone.
Pardon?
Is the session recorded?
Yeah,
because
the session,
my phone is
the session is always recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, after we are done, you will get the link maybe like 10 minutes time here. So sudo nano, let us edit this quickly because of time. Sudo nano etc sudo, yeah, I think that's that. Enter. As you can see here, so in this task 2 here, all you have to do was now edit, but we have already edited. You are just supposed to come, enter this file, look for password authentication, set it to no, and then also you are supposed to edit 2 things, and then change your configuration file to use a private key. So to change the configuration file to use a private key, you're just supposed to come here and then change this one out and edit this one, and then change this identity to use this private key. So comment that one out and then come here, remove that one, and then paste this one just like that, and then Ctrl X, yes, enter, and then that will be done. And then now, so that you can be able to finish the task itself, and then now copy it, and then copy the file that you have edited, copy that file, and then what I mean by that, let me show you again. Copy this file, just copy all of it from top to bottom. So let me Ctrl X, copy it from top to bottom, and then paste it in this file called 2SSH config, and then check your file, check your codes. It's going to be okay. Close. So in task 3, now that you have successfully connected to your server, we will also like to join. So in task 3, all you have to do here, you'll have to do just SSH. So in task 3, you won't do it in your own computer now. You'll have to connect to the remote server so that you can be able to do this. For the moment, I won't be able to do that because I was telling you guys this file here is corrupt, so I won't be able to connect it. But then I'll just walk you through the process itself. You just have to SSH, and then use this here. Use this username, SSH Ubuntu at this IP address, and then if I just press it here, it's just going to load, and then it's not going to do anything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to edit this file one. I'm going to edit out after we are done with the session. So, and then if you Control C, and then if you go there now, you just go to CD into now still again the SSH file. You are going to find a folder called authorized keys, and then in the authorized key folder, paste this CD into that file, or VI into that file, or maybe nano, and then I'll paste this key. If you go inside there, you are going to see another key inside. Don't edit out, just copy this one and then paste it out in such a way that it will be more like appended to it. It will be added to the key. So there will be 2 keys, the one that you will find there, and then this other one here. And then if you check your code, I think you're going to pass. Yeah, close. And then lastly, this is the advanced task for those who want to try it. Here, this one here, all you have to do here is still do the same thing that you did in task 2. In this task 2, the only difference is that you're going to use Puppet. Yeah, for those who did the configuration file. I think that's it. Let me see. yeah, they didn't talk anything about Puppet here, but then you're just supposed to use Puppet for this one. So that's it from me. Let me stop this recording first of all.